My skin is my sin.
This is the type of message they kill people over. So I might not make it with you, but I will spark the Exodus. Queen Mother Harriet said she freed 1,000 slaves. She could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. You see, the hardest job of a revolutionary is getting our people to understand the necessity of movement. We're standing still at our jobs, still in our homes, still in our community, still in our churches and mosques, still in our thinking. Hell, we're sitting still to get murdered. We won't even move to protect ourselves. We're standing still with our hands up, begging not to get shot. But where are our survival instincts? I've never saw a gazelle sit still when they see a cheetah, or a hyena when they see a lion. I've never even saw a white man sit still when they see a black man. But for some odd reason, our people have become content being preyed on. But that day is over. Today is a day of movement. We're moving from relying on the Caucasian to relying on each other. We're moving from having our community controlled by others to controlling them ourselves. We're moving from being policed by Caucasian cops to daring them to point a gun at one of us again. We're moving from our oppressors poisoning our water to us being the source of life for our people. We're moving to a promised land, which is not a distant land, but we're going to build our nation right where we are. This is not going to be an exodus from one place to another. This is an exodus from being good Negroes to great kings and queens. My people, we must move. We're moving from no longer can we sit still, waiting for the perpetrators of injustice to give us justice. Do you want to be free? Do you want to be protected? Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to have everything you need in abundance? Do you want to live without having to tone your blackness down because you fear you might get shot or a job won't hire you or you'll be discriminated against? Do you want to live in a world where the amount of melanin you have isn't a hindrance for your prosperity? No, I'm not going to ask Pharaoh to let my people go in this exodus. I'm asking you to let yourself.
Yeah, are you ready to follow? Better yet, leave time to be a role model. Take a look in your closet. I hope there's more than Jordans and brand new phone posits. Them number 9s cost a passport, but you can't even in your block it. Basically, just a hostage. Under my control, they watching. Half of them killing each other, the rest of them still lost in the doctrine. Little black babies all up for adoption, but y'all see no problems. Who controlling the mentality of our children? Y'all seeing this nonsense? Jim Crow in these streets still can't escape from that bondage. Shackles still in the brain of some of our people. Sometimes it's still impossible, but I feel there ain't no other option though. I ain't lying, King Mufasa. I'm going hard until I'm adios. Lost in the safe and it's all I know. Dodo on the way, so it's all I want. Picture perfect, just call that flow, make it last longer. Work 1,000 words, once you put it together, make the art so dope. Slam mosaics, artistic with faces, creating great lyrical articles. The book of brick, every chapter real. Married to the game at the chapter still. Camouflage out my ammo field. It's time to deploy to the battlefield. Let's go.
Yes, this is melanated greatness. Can you feel the power in the statement? Mind insomnia, I'm so awake and this is safe. I feel so amazing.
Looking for a reason, blame it on my melanated greatness. More than just a conscious rapper overall, I am the greatest. My kindness ain't no weakness, on the slick they really hating. I know they want my spot, but they could never ever take it. No, this ain't no movie, so it ain't no trading places. Very unappreciative, nothing about them gracious. No, I ain't no doctor, but they testing on my patience. They the common denominator to the equation. My essence black as tar, my spirit on fire, blazing. Step up in a room, you're feeling my vibration. Embracing boots, doing and moving like I'm a Haitian. Try for Hayroof, make moves across the nation. Just like you so rock, I studied a master basic. Black or old trade, say ya, Shakur, crazy. Banging like a Scary Ali, that's on the daily. Me, I'm super free.
melanated greatness. Now tell me, can you feel the power of that statement? Feel it? Mind insomnia, I'm so awake in meditation. Third eye activated, fully blazing, this is sacred. I feel so amazing, this is melanated greatness. Now tell me, can you feel the power of that statement? Feel it? Mind insomnia, I'm so awake in meditation. Third eye activated, fully blazing, this is sacred. I feel so amazing. I'm just sitting contemplating, focused, trying to find a way to change our situation. I ain't got 400 years for waiting to celebration. Tapped into the mainframe of they brain, time to replace it. No lie, that software is outdated. Let me upgrade you. Feel sharper still, but still with the stainless. Flash with the sight until the blood hits the pavement. Ready for the wars where it's about to get crazy. Chemtrails got look hazy. Face it, this is genocide on a whole generation. They jealous of our melanated greatness. Danger, my sin. Police sirens and them gunshots blazing. Crazy, struck by the bullet out the barrel of the gun of a bitch where I don't like bacon. Hatred, feeling in danger, major. Black power, fist raising. Introduce the program with retraining. Free men, create the foundation. Reaching for the top and we started in the basement. You can see the hunger in our faces. Melanated greatness. Now tell me, can you feel the power of that statement? Feel it? Mind insomnia, I'm so awake in meditation. Third eye activated, fully blazing, this is sacred. I feel so amazing, this is melanated greatness. Now tell me, can you feel the power of that statement? Feel it? Mind insomnia, I'm so awake in meditation. Third eye activated, fully blazing, this is sacred. I feel so amazing, this is melanated greatness.
We melanated, they know we are the greatest. Ain't even gotta debate it, staring at the faces of a race. Smiling but ready and anxious to get the Smith & Wesson, aiming and bang it at the faces of your brother, cousin, mother, father, or your baby. Man, holla. Rest in power, calling gangs. None of my niggas not playing no games. They speak about freedom, but can you explain why do they treat us like slaves? Beat us and keep us insane. Kill us in race compared to no other race. I don't understand it. First people on the planet had an economic disadvantage. This is not prophecy, this is planet. When you're tough off of the beast in his annex, advantage abandoned. His mechanic isn't the image. Imagine your own world. In a palace with your home girl. 1,000 acres, you the owner. But capital tourism be like no sir. So why do they form our vacation? For my ancestors who died for our black nation. For my brothers and sisters who shine a light from the darkness between that spot between your faces.
This is melanated greatness. Now tell me, can you feel the power of that statement? Feel it? Mind insomnia, I'm so awake in meditation. Third eye activated, fully blazing, this is sacred. I feel so amazing, this is melanated greatness. Now tell me, can you feel the power of that statement? Feel it? Mind insomnia, I'm so awake in meditation. Third eye activated, fully blazing, this is sacred. I feel so amazing, this is melanated greatness.
What's good, fam? This is Jobs, and you are tuned in to My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to guys, we welcome everyone. We only have one rule, and that's be respectful. What's up, bro? The plug. Hey, man, I just kind of wanted to do a show, man, and just if anybody out there is working in healthcare, give you the opportunity. And actually, I kind of want to make this a little, maybe a weekly thing, maybe every Sunday. Because I know, man, like having been in the medical profession for, I'm not even going to say how long, but oftentimes we don't have an outlet. We don't have somebody to talk to, or we don't have somebody to talk to that will understand, that will get where you're coming from. Like we may have a husband or a wife, and if they're not in health care, they will listen to you, but it's not the same as somebody who's walked in your shoes. And I saw a young sister who had got assaulted. I saw a picture of it on Facebook. She got assaulted by a patient of hers. And, I mean, she got her ass beat. Like, it was really, really, really bad. And I have never been assaulted to that extent, but I've been spit on. I've been punched. I've been kicked. I've been called a nigger. I don't know how many times. I mean, like, I have – people don't understand the shit that you go through to take care of somebody else and make a living. And they think that we are robots and that we can take care of as many people as they want to throw at us, that we can do that with the best smile, and we can ingest as much pain as possible with no outlet. There's a reason why the medical profession has one of the highest rates of addiction to alcohol, to drugs. There's a reason for that, because we don't have an outlet. Well, we're trying to give you one. So if you know somebody that's a nurse, a doctor, a STNA, a respiratory therapist, hell, if you know somebody that works a dietary at the nursing home you work at, and they want to call and get something up off their chest, the number is 347-855-8692. One thing I got to stress, don't lose your job. Do not violate any HIPAA. And if you're in healthcare, you already know what that means. I'm not going to go through explaining that. Don't put your patients' names out here. And despite what some people will tell you, you don't have to say a person's name to violate their HIPAA rights. If you describe a scenario that is so unique or so distinct that that person or that person's loved ones will recognize who you're talking about, that's a HIPAA violation. I had somebody that kind of wanted to debate me on that one, and that's fine. You do what works for you. However, I'm telling you from decades of experience what can get you caught up in some BS, and I have seen it. So I definitely don't want to be responsible for anybody losing their gig, because they will fire your ass immediately if they find out you violated somebody's HIPAA. Other than that, I want you to call up and be honest. You ain't got to give no names. You can't. If you choose to say what you do, that's fine, but get it off your chest. This is an opportunity for us to talk, and more importantly, it's an opportunity for us to listen. Jesus Christ, my phone ringing. Sorry about that. It's just a perfect timing. And once I get somebody on the show, that calls up. Hold on one second. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but your boy got a life, and, my wife calls. I got to pick up the phone. It is like that. And shout out to my wife for being so understanding, so wonderful, so amazing. Just in case you listen. No, I'm just messing with you. But this is a topic that really hits home for me personally. Because, like I say, this is something that I've been doing. I have fed my kids. I have bought cars for my kids. I have kept a roof over my head. I have, that, ladies and gentlemen, it has boy got a life, served me well. My wife calls. I got to take aspects. What I'm noticing though is that when I first started to be a nurse, you had time to actually sit down and build with your patients. You had time to actually get to know not only your patients but your patients' families. As the years have progressed and healthcare has become a bigger and bigger machine, everything seems to be computer and charting based. The patient seems to be the least important rung on the ladder, and that's fucked up. And we as a society should not accept that. We got to do better. I'm in a huge group on Facebook, Black Nurses Rock, dope group, over 150,000 black nurses, all in the same group. I don't see no argument. I don't see no tripping. I don't see no drama. Now, I'm not in that group 24/7, don't get me wrong, but from what I see, it's a beautiful group full of harmony. If you're in the healthcare profession, that's an avenue that you can take to get some things off your chest. And if you know something, another group or something, do me a favor. Tag them in the comments. We are live on Facebook. We live on YouTube. We live on Twitch. And we on Blog Talk Radio. Again, the number is 347-855-8692. And, you know, I know a couple of nurses or whatnot, and they may or may not call up. I know one of my peoples was in a meeting. And, you know, nursing homes, hospitals, they don't close. So if you catch this today or tomorrow or in 1,000 years, and if you listen to it in 1,000 years, you are the dopest motherfucker that ever walked across the planet of the earth, and we love you. Do us a favor, share the show. If you tuned in now, do us a favor, tag somebody. We all know a STNA. We all know a nurse. We all know, well, not all of us know a doctor personally. But if you know one of those, tag them. You know a respiratory therapist, tag them. And I know I'm an X-ray tech, tag them. And I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting a crap load of people that work in healthcare. Blame it on my head and not my heart, because I really do have the utmost respect for the sacrifice that people make. And it's not just a check. It can't be just a check if you are a healthcare worker. Does it matter if one place pays you more money? Yeah, of course it does. You know, if one place has better benefits, of course. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for somebody's life. And I met some lazy-ass healthcare workers over the years, but what I haven't met is somebody that was lazy to the point of harming someone. I have never come across somebody that is so extreme with their laziness that they would do something that could literally put somebody's life in danger. I haven't, and hopefully I never will. What I have met is people that care. What I have met is people that work over. I've met people that don't get a chance to use the bathroom for 8, 12 freaking hours straight. I've met people that will work 12 hours, that are scheduled 12 hours, and work 14, 15 hours consistently because they got to get their charting done. Because a family member wanted to have a discussion with them that took a half an hour out their day. Or because a doctor wanted to make you repeat something that they screwed up. So I have the utmost respect for you, and I appreciate you. And if don't nobody else tell you, if nobody's told you today, I love you. You are doing a phenomenal job, and you are doing a job that a lot of people say they won't, but really don't. Wiping somebody's ass is one of the most intimate things that you can do in any job for a person. Sounds nasty. It's not pleasant. It is not. But it's worse for that person because they can't do it themselves. The simplest thing that they've been doing their whole life, they can no longer do. And we do it without batting an eye, without blinking, without question, because we give a shit. There's a price to giving a shit, though. Because people say, oh, don't take your work home from, take your work home with you. Somebody explain to me how it's possible to see somebody in excruciating pain and not bring that home with you a little bit. Or let's say you work in a nursing home. You see the same people every day. Every day. You develop a relationship with people. You develop a bond with people. There's no way possible, unless you are some type of psychopath, that you can see somebody on a daily basis and not develop some type of feelings for that person. I'm not saying that you're going to love every patient. No. But even the patients that treat you like shit, when something happens to you, it bothers you a little bit. So there, the don't take it home thing is an extreme falsehood. And you're right, Taisha, it's impossible. Especially for those that really care. It is freaking impossible to just box your emotions up and leave them at the door of wherever you work. You're not going to tell me that for every nurse out there, when you go home and you had something happen to one of your patients passed away, you can't tell me that you don't go home and talk about that. You do. Now, I'm not saying you violate their HIPAA. You don't. But you go home and baby, so-and-so passed away today. Because some of these people, you see more than a lot of your family members. And that's just real shit. Some of your coworkers, you see a lot more than your family members. and you develop bonds with them. People act like being a nurse or being an ST, and God bless STNAs. They have a really, really, really tough job. And their job is so thankless, it's ridiculous. If you are a STNA, you are beautiful, you are phenomenal, you are wonderful, and you are loved, and you are appreciated. Because one day, I'm going to need you. That's how you should operate every day you go to work, is that one day you will be looking up instead of looking down. Very few people on this planet make it from beginning to end without a sickness, without an ailment, without something happening to you that you need some help to get through. I'm not saying it's absolute. There's some people that live to 90 years old, never been sick a day in their life, and just die in their sleep. That's perfect. Way to go. You know, I'm not mad. That's a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that for most of us. It just doesn't. So that was part of what I wanted to do with this show, is to let people know that there is somebody out there that gives a shit randomly, you know. And if you need to get some things off your chest, again, call up 347-855-8692. And it looks like we got Lotus in the building. Let's see what the Queen talking about today. What's good, Queen?
Nothing much. How are you, King?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Just I'm going to be doing this probably every Sunday.
Okay.
You know, every Sunday that I can, I want to make this a consistent thing, because I know we got a lot of people, and you know for a fact, it's a lot of folks out there that struggle with giving so much of themselves and getting so much pain in return.
Exactly.
You know, one of the worst things you'll ever see is a doctor have to tell a family member, we lost your loved one.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah. I have personally been right there when somebody on the operating table and did not make it, and the doctors had to notify them.
Yeah.
That's some hard shit to have to deal with, you know. And we all develop coping mechanisms. Like me personally, I go out my way to not call any patient by their first name.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, you know, people and patients want me to. And I have to explain to them that that's a coping mechanism for me, because I remember the first patient that died on me 20-something years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And that patient was a terminal patient. There was absolutely nothing I can do with that patient.
Yeah.
And they passed away. And it bothered me. Nobody in nursing school prepared me for death. They talked about it. It was a chapter in our books. But nobody prepares you for, how do I fucking deal with the fact that I've been taking care of this patient for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I done learned about their grandkids. I see pictures of their family every day. They done came in, spoke to me, offered me candy and coffee. We done had conversations. And then I have to watch that same family come clean up an empty room.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I can tell you I've been through that myself.
How do you deal with it?
Well, obviously, I don't know if that happens at your job, but I know at my job, obviously, we have grief counselors and social workers and regular counselors and whatnot. And I'm a talkative person, so if something is on my chest, I like to talk it out. You know, unfortunately, in this day and age of healthcare, they're trying to make it where there's no room for that.
Nope.
And the coping mechanisms that we're used to having 20 years ago are simply non-existent today, because it's not even about the patient anymore. It's about the numbers. It's about how many patients we can get in one day. As a matter of fact, I just had a meeting on it. They were complaining that nurses and doctors are, quote, unquote, taking too long with the patients, and we need to get the revenue up, And I'm saying to myself, well, what about the patient care? Because you're advertising, world-class care and patient first, and it goes beyond the patient. As you said, you got to know the patient's family, the patient's life. And then out of nowhere, that they're terminally ill, but subconsciously you don't want to believe that in your being because you have become so emotionally attached to them. And then when they depart, it's like a piece of you has left because you cared for them, Yeah. So it's for some people, and I've seen this too, and I'm sure you have too, Joe, is there's some people that cope with the usual mechanisms, and I hate to say usual, but honestly, I've seen that more often than not. The drinking, the smoking, the abuse of prescription drugs, I even had one coworker who got fired because she was overly flirtatious to the point where it was almost promiscuity, because anything to get away from dealing with that reality. And I don't think that the higher-ups, meaning the administrator, either know or don't care.
Well, I'll take that back.
About
they know, they don't care.
Right, and by them not caring, it makes it seem as though we, as the people that are working with these patients, because we have to go by a protocol and we have to go by the rules and regulations, appear like, oh, we're just mean, or we're moving too fast, or we're not really caring for the patient, So again, when you're talking about coping mechanisms, it just seems like it's getting further and further away from that. It's starting to become an assembly line machine mentality.
It is. And it's been a long time in the making. And I have worked where you work at. I worked there for a decade. And I saw how it went from a true team atmosphere to every man for themselves.
Yeah.
It's
horrible.
And Patrima, you are right. Like some old people, and she was just making a comment, I'm sorry, that she was going through, dealing with some things now as far as watching someone get older. And some people, old people, yes, they are hard to deal with. They're not going to listen. And it's not that they're not going to listen. It's that they have been doing the same thing for 60, 70, 80 years. I don't care what it is that you are doing. If you do something for 6, 7, 8 decades, changing that in a couple of months or a couple of years is damn near impossible. So a lot of times, what we, especially I tell younger nurses, you got to meet them where they are.
Right.
Especially like when you have, like I've worked in dementia units, and initially back in the day, they wanted you to reorient them, and that's just impossible. If somebody's talking about Mars and Pluto, roll with it. Because trying to reorient them is only going to frustrate them.
Right.
Because it's not their fault that they can't remember or that they're stuck in a particular point in time. But it is what it is. It's not going to change, and it's not going to get better. And the worst thing to see is somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia go through the stages.
Oh, my.
Seeing somebody that when you first met them, they walking, they talking, and you can't even tell nothing wrong with them. A year or two later, they're not moving. They're not washing. They're not brushing their own teeth. They're not washing themselves. They forget that they need to eat.
Right.
And you got to deal with that
shit.
And that's
terrible. Right.
Yeah.
Or even farther, me working in cancer. Different echelons of cancer, breast cancer in particular. And then couple that with dementia or Alzheimer's on top of battling cancer. It's heartbreaking to watch. I mean, I've worked in 2 areas where I almost cracked, Joe. I literally almost cracked. The first time was when I was working in sickle cell. And it was a young girl. She passed when she was 27. Wow. She had an attack, and she passed, and she died in my arms. I did not know what to do because the first thing that I saw when I saw her passing was my daughter. Because, you know, I have children that are around that age group. And she's a newlywed. You know, she had a child. Her husband came in screaming.
All right, I don't want to get too specific. We don't, you know.
No, but
sure.
I'm just saying, you know, just the emotional piece of it, it nearly crushed me. Mm-hmm. And then the second time was when I was in the cancer unit for breast cancer. And what is interesting is when they know the end is coming, you see this sense of acceptance. I'm not going to say relief, but it was a sense of acceptance because after a while, this particular patient was coming every week. Then it was every other week. It was about a month. And then she just stopped. And then when she stopped, she ended up, they offered her hospice, and she said no, she wanted to be at home. And that's where she passed at home. So it was like, okay, and that girl was 29. So imagine dealing with patients that basically have just now really started their lives, and it ends basically as soon as it really starts. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making light of those who are older and have dementia, but just imagine.
But that's an expectation. That's that's the normal cycle of life. Like when somebody's 90 years old and passes away, their family their family understands because we all know we have a finite amount of time on this planet. So even their family, you know, they're sad, but they're understanding. But let a 9-year-old pass.
Oh my gosh, that's why I could never work in peace. I could never do it. It's just like no, I can't. My heart will not allow me to do it. And I don't sit well with death in the first place. That's something I personally have to work on. And sadly, that's something that can't be taught. You can't go to school and look at chapter 15 and say, oh, this is how you deal with death. You know, especially if you're a student that's never had to encounter that. You know, you've never, you know, like you said, been in the OR and you see that flat line and you're like, well, step 3 state. No. You're literally standing there, and then the teachers try to tell you, well, you know, you have to disassociate yourself away from that because you can't get too personal. And then they try to tell you, well, that's the cycle of life, and that happens, and that's just a risk that's taken when you work in healthcare. But you have to understand we're not machines. We're not just these emotionless beings that say, well, you know, he died on the table, that's it. No, we have feelings, you know.
Yep. And one of the worst things, and I'm sorry, I'm pretty bad with cutting people off. The worst thing is when you got a cold and you are one of the ones that are doing compressions.
Man.
And they don't make it.
No.
That is, like you have put every ounce, and trust me, I have been there on more than one occasion. And you put every ounce, like you are exhausted, but yet you keep going. I've been in colds where, you know, I'm at a nursing home. And to be quite honest, like I had one time, I had to tell my supervisor to get out the room.
Mm-hmm.
First off, she had assessed the patient and said they were fine.
Oh.
They were not breathing. She had no clue. Apparently, she had never been in a cold. And this was an older woman. You know, and I'm not saying that's not possible, but the fact that you have a higher title than me, you have a higher position than me, and you have no clue what the hell you're doing with somebody's life on the line?
That's a problem.
I literally had to tell her, you need to get out this room. Go do something else. Go call somebody. You know, but you put everything into. You want to talk about adrenaline? Oh my God! Like you are so hopped up on adrenaline when you are doing chest compressions that your normal tired is nothing. Doesn't even bother you. You know, when you're done, it's like I'm sweating my ass off. You know, I feel like I done lost some weight, and my first concern is them making it. Like I've only lost, I want to say 3 patients over the years. And as I was saying, one was terminal. And I have done compressions on, at least 20 people.
Yeah.
You know, but I had one lady, and I didn't get much help at all with the compressions, and she didn't make it. And it's like I can. It's hard to explain to people that aren't in the medical profession that each patient takes just a fraction of your soul.
Of course.
Each person that you lose takes 2 fractions of your soul, 3 fractions, depending on the person, and you don't get it back. At least you don't get it back on this planet. You know, you believe in what you believe in, or whatever you think happens after we pass away. You know, maybe you get rewarded in the afterlife. But typically, what happens is they want you to go back to work.
Right.
Let a cop shoot somebody, kill somebody. It could be the most wrong shooting ever. They give them time, you know, desk duty. They make them go to counseling. They make sure that one death does not adversely affect them mentally as much as possible. Nurses, somebody passes, they want you to go back to work. If you got a good manager, you may get a 15-minute break. And that's it. Go back to work. How fucked up is that? At what point are we in the medical profession going to stick together and demand some changes? You know, what I see is,
unfortunately,
especially main campus, black folks stick together down there, at least from my experience.
They do, depending on where you are. Unfortunately, the higher you go, the worse it gets.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's like, you know, we don't have many, and I'm going to put it out there, we don't have many higher up medical professionals, you know, where I am, because they either transfer or they quit or they get fired, because you're going up against an administration that's telling you it's all about the mighty dollar. It is not about the patient. Now, I've had meetings where I've said that, where I've said, I understand that it's about trying to accumulate, you know, revenue, and immediately the administrator is like, well, that's not true. But instead of me arguing with him about that, because I know I'm right about it, I'm like, okay, well, what is it about then? Then that's when they go on their little spiel about how, you know, it's about the patient, looking out for the patient, blase split. But is it really what it's about? Because I know that initially medicine was about the patient. It's about making sure the patient's family was okay. Because if you took care of the patient and you took care of their families, in turn you took care of the community.
Facts.
But that's not the way it is now. You know, now it's every other block, a division of the hospital is being built, and it's pushing the community further and further away. And it pushes the community's mentality away as well. You know?
And then you got people that generally speaking, most of the people that aren't black that work down there don't live in the city. So there is no vested interest in the community.
Oh, of course not.
They're just coming down there to practice.
Right, because that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what medicine is. It's a practice. So when you're coming in and you done already drove an hour and a half away, you know what I'm saying, from your house to work, my question here is, what are you really investing in your time? Now, of course, people will try to make the argument about, well, if I really didn't want to do it, I wouldn't make this drive and all this snow for an hour and a half, blah, blah, blah. But come on now. Let's be honest with ourselves. The kind of packages that they have are unbridled. You know, you're not going to drive an hour and a half away from your job from your house to your job for like $10 an hour. That's ridiculous. I wouldn't even do that. But if you give me a nice freaking package with all the fresh fixings on it, I will drive from here to Timbuktu if you make it sound right. You know, I'm just here to let you know. But,
and let me let me ask a favor of my healthcare professionals. When you do happen to have one of us as a patient, and I'm going to address how we get down as patients, too, because we got to be better.
Yes.
Trust and believe. I'm going to get to that, too. But we already behind the 8 ball as black folks in this country. You think that cops killing black folks is a thing? Doctors killing black folks at astronomical fucking rates. We got to look out for our own people.
That's
when
right.
you see something is wrong, you have an obligation to say something. Now, I'm not saying you need to say something to that patient. You know, I'm not saying risk your job, but sometimes, you know what, you do need to risk your job. It's more important that that brother or that sister go home to their mama, their daddy, their kids, their wife, or whoever they're going home to. If they go home to an empty jail cell, I don't give a shit. Their life is worth something. And we have got to stop. I've seen too many of us, because of one of us being broke, oh, they just a bum. We treat them the same way they do. We got to stop that shit.
Yeah, we do. We do.
We have got to stop that shit. Speak up.
It's very stereotypical.
And make no mistake about it, when that patient they do something wrong and that patient dies, I best believe that patient that didn't have nobody come visit them is going to have a family member that's going to sue. And you know what your hospital or your nursing home is going to do? They're going to throw your ass under the bus.
So under the bus. So under it. It's terrible. And plus,
so selfishly take care of them people the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had to talk about that, too, because I know that I don't know if you have it at your job, but you should know from my job that they have those little meetings or whatever, the diversity and cultural sensitivity meetings we have every month. Boo.
Yeah, basically some white person telling black people or other white people how to be sensitive to cultures they don't know shit about.
Exactly, or how to be sensitive to people who are socioeconomically at a disadvantage. You know, well, if this person stays in urban such and such, then, you know, you can't use your personal prejudices against them. But we see the doctors doing it every day. You know, I've overheard doctors say, oh, well, so-and-so is just lazy. They haven't been to their treatment in 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, well, do you know the situation of that patient? Well, I mean, if they really want to take care of themselves, they'll find a way. We've had patients that have came in that have had no food, that have had no way to get to their appointments. Some of them have been cut off their medical coverage, so they're getting bills left and right. You know, we had a cancer patient that was going through a case with Children and Family Services, and she had to be home the day that the worker had to come to the house, and she missed her infusion. So there's all kinds of things you have to consider with certain patients instead of just thinking, oh, well, she just doesn't want the treatment, or she's impatient, or she's this. So then they say, well, we'll solve this problem by bringing in social work. Okay, so you have this whole campus, which you know is significantly large, but you only have 3 social workers to run that whole department. That's 4 floors. Really? You know? And the only thing they can do is send a Lyft or an Uber, and that's pretty much it. Well, what if the patient needs food? What if their family needs it? What about child care? You know, because sometimes they can't make it to their doctor's appointment because they have no one to watch their children, you know? And so when I bring those incidences up when I have our meetings, it's like complete silence. It's like, well, you know, we'll have social work deal with that. But they're being overworked and they're undermanned, you know. You can't expect 3 social workers to handle 60-patient caseload on a daily basis. That'll make anybody crazy. Is that ridiculous? Come on, man.
Man, and I'm not even going to talk about the case managers down there. Like, the case managers down there are so fucking overworked. It is ridiculous. And if you don't know what a case manager is a person that prepares you for your discharge. If you need therapy or you need to go to a rehab, if you need any type of care post-hospitalization, a case manager is the person that would arrange that for you. And they have cut them back so drastically. And a good case manager finds you a place that suits your needs, and that from talking to you will not only suit your medical needs, but your social needs.
Right.
And, they'll find you a place, okay, I live 100 miles away from here. They'll find you a place that's 100 miles away from there, that's close to where you live at. Now, it's getting to the point where, I just need to get you out of here because we need that bed. And you know what, man, Joe Cool, do me a favor, bro. You can't call up, man. I would love to hear, he's got an autistic son. And I don't know, is Joe Cool more, and I'm saying your name, bro, because you already are in the chat. But if you've ever seen the pictures that he posts up, like, I don't think that I've ever seen a father as committed to his son as I have seen this man. And I've never met him. Aww. But he's chronicled the things that they have gone through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's disheartening but inspirational at the same time. So, bro, if I know I don't think I've ever told you this, man, but I'm proud of you, man. You make black fathers look good. And your son is extremely lucky to have you as a father, bro. So thank you.
Very much so.
Yeah, definitely. Let me get on these patients too, though. Now, like black folks, we got to do better. Don't think just, yes, I'm at work. I need to feed my family. And I can't cut too many corners for you. Now, I'm not saying, if it's, you want to put into something, I got you. I'm not about to steal no shit for you. And you cussing me out is not helping your case. Because whether you know it or not, when I leave your room, I'm fighting for your ass. That you've been, even though you've been disrespectful and cussed out everybody on the unit. I'm the one in your corner saying, look, I've been in their shoes. I understand the apprehension, and I understand where they're coming from. It's more than just me doing that. I see a lot of brothers and sisters that stick up for patients that may be out of pocket, but we can understand why they're out of pocket.
Right.
You cannot be disrespectful to us. We ain't bitches. We ain't hoes. We ain't the ain't shit motherfucker. Oh, you just a company. No, I'm not a company, man. I just need to pay my light bill.
Take care of the kid.
And I'm not trying to be funny or nothing, but, it's a profession, make no mistake about it, and we show up because we honestly do care, but we shouldn't have to deal with certain things. And if you're going to go off on somebody, go off on one of their asses. Watch the situation and see, okay, this doctor is treating the sister like shit. So when I go off on when I go off on somebody, it's that motherfucker. Direct your angst appropriately, please. I'm just saying, I had to get that out there.
Well, what you have to understand also, too, from the perspective of a health caregiver is, this, especially over the years, is you're dealing with a lot of people that don't understand what we go through as healthcare providers. A lot of it is coming from fear. A lot of it is coming from ignorance and apprehension. And how to solve that problem for me, because it has worked for me, is to actually sit down and speak with that patient for about 2 to 3 minutes, and say, listen, I understand your fear, and I also understand your angst. But the thing here is we're trying to look out for you, and we're trying to find ways to take care of you the best way that we know how. But it is a two-sided coin. It can't be a thing where we're doing all this for you and you give us all this pushback, because we have the right to let you go as a patient. And I've seen patients actually get let go from my job, literally hop from hospital to hospital, thinking they're going to get exactly what they get. And when they find that the trend is, well, maybe I got to change something in me, some will change, others won't. Another problem with patients is they seem to think that because we work in this profession, we have to cater to them like we're at the Waldorf. You fall in a clinic 20 minutes, half an hour later, and you expect us to drop what we're doing because you done fell through the door. Who are you? Well, I've been sitting here for an hour. No, you haven't, because I've been going into this waiting room calling other patients for the past hour. What are you talking about? You just materialized? Where were you? You know, well, I had to park my car, or I had to do this first. What you do outside of our doors of our clinic is on you. It is not on us. That's one. Two, if I'm telling you that you're going to come in for a further procedure than what you have been told by scheduling, don't get mad at me, okay? Because the scheduling says, for example, just to throw this out here, if, say you're coming in for a mammogram, but it's really a diagnostic, screenings take 10 minutes. Diagnostic could be anywhere between half an hour, 45 minutes, because we're looking inside of the tissue. Well, what's taking so long? Why I got to sit here? Is something wrong? Well, it says here that you're here for a diagnostic. Well, I was told it was a screening. By whom? Oh, I was told by central scheduling. Well, what should have happened was one of the people in our department should have contacted you and let you know it was a diagnostic, because you came back as a cat.
And that's a huge problem too. Is departments not communicating with each other, and especially as a nurse, they leave us holding the bag so much. Like like the nurses have to make excuses for everybody in the building. When there is a problem with your food, like like the nurses, when there is a problem with your laundry, they go get the nurse. It is exhausting, and it has gotten so much worse. I cannot say that enough. It has gotten so much worse. It's ridiculous. Have to make excuses. I used to want my daughters to be nurses. You could do it. It as far as you can go to a community college. You can make a great living. You can take care of your family, the whole nine. Now, I'm not so sure. It's tough. And we got another caller too, Queen. So let me get to 5193. And if you are tuned in, again, the number is 347-855-8692. Just press 1 to let me know you want to get on air. 5193. What's good, fam?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Joe Cool.
What's going on, bro?
Yay!
Yeah, too much. Right.
How you doing, man? How's your son doing?
He's dancing all through the apartment. That's why I was debating whether to call or not, because he's got Bluetooth headphones, so he's enjoying himself.
Aww.
But
so what's been your experience from the patient aspect?
Well, from what I've been hearing is that I agree. Some of that, as far as it come down to money, if you don't have money, then they treat you a certain way. I think luckily it's his disability that I kind of get sympathy and stuff that, people go out their way to help. I think if he was just, quote, regular kid, he'd be just like what you guys are talking about. As far as case managers, I know, like in Kansas, they done slash case managers, and they get like how many cases per manager. Luckily for me, my case manager or his case manager is an angel, because she really looked out for us and got in programs like transportation wise, like trying to like that lady was saying. Sometimes you can't get to an appointment for whatever reason. Mine personally, I stopped working 2013 because my son Ray got so big, no one could watch him, or if they could watch him, they didn't want to deal with his. He wasn't potty trained at the time. He is now. So he was too big for women to watch him, and then men didn't want to watch him because he wasn't potty trained. They didn't want to have to, wipe his butt and all that glorious stuff.
Wow.
Of course, I had to kind of lose some stuff. So I don't have transportation, but luckily through his Medicaid, there's a program where they can give you a lift or take you to an appointment. So I used that. Get to his appointments. There's other program that allows me to stay at home to, take care of him and at the same time pay my bills and have food on the table. But that's all mainly through his case manager to find out about these programs, or at least give me heads up, what his Medicaid covers.
Black lady or white lady?
She's a white lady. So, like I said, she's been on the job. Actually, I had one, and then another one took over. I'd say about 4 years ago, and she has just been on it. I guess they just kind of fell in love with Ray, so it kind of helps too. But yeah, we'd be lost without them.
When you find somebody that is a true good soul in healthcare, hold on to them as long as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they doing.
Yes, indeed.
And it could be something as and I don't know if sprinkle is the right word, because I don't want to put anybody down, but even the housekeeping. Like a lot of people would be surprised how much of a resource housekeepers are, especially in a huge hospital. They know everybody. They know everywhere. They know the shortcuts. They can kind of help you minimize wasting a lot of time. Just talking to the housekeeper. Mm-hmm. And they'll tell you the real deal about whatever facility you in. The housekeeper is not going to hold them up. They're going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I got an aunt that she's had rheumatoid arthritis all her life, and now that she's getting older, that's really kind of ate her body up. So she was at this, I don't know what they call it. It's kind of like a nursing home, but they kind of watch out for you. But she couldn't stay there.
Like an assisted living.
She was in Missouri. Well, she lived in Missouri, because people that know Kansas City, it straddles both Kansas and Missouri. So she had moved over here, and the case manager she had, and actually it was the people that worked at that facility, got her where she is now, which ironically is right down the street from me, about a 15-minute walk. And they got her in there before, and she really couldn't get there. She really didn't qualify, but somehow they pulled some strings and got her in there. So now her Medicaid and everything just pays for her to stay there.
Nice.
And if it wasn't for the workers at the previous facility and that case managers, we as a family, we don't know what we would have done. She can't do anything.
People are losing their homes over this shit. And matter of fact, let me give you some advice. If you out there and you have a loved one that is that you know's got some issues, but they unless something dramatic happens, they've got a few years before you may have to consider home health aid or putting them in a nursing home or something like that. Make sure you talk to a financial advisor. Because it was a time where, let's say your mom's had to go to a nursing home, well, she could just easily transfer everything over to you, and you could do whatever you needed to do on her behalf financially. Now, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you have to do all of that at least 5 years prior to you being admitted to the nursing home. Because what they'll end up doing is they will make that person sell everything that they have before the government will pay 1 cent.
Yep. She had to give up pretty much everything herself.
So
and
we got to do a better job at that too.
My son, we were on the wait list like 3 years before he even got a case manager.
Oh, wow.
So I had to wait 2 or 3 years before he even got a case manager. But once he got a case manager, then it helped. Like back then this was back when he was 8, I was paying like $150 a month for pull-ups. And then
Damn.
So, but then she tapped me into this program to where either his Medicaid or some program pays for pull-ups now. I get like a shipment every month now. So that's $150 I don't have to pay now. Little stuff like that just make a difference, especially
that
now.
Ain't little, bro. $150 a month. That's expensive.
Yeah. So, it's like pull-ups, transportation, She even told. I even found out a little program where they even send you a phone, just a regular, your cell phone, through his program. That's if I needed one. So but his case manager knew all that stuff. It took me forever to even find half of that stuff.
That is a beautiful thing, and you know what? We don't necessarily often get the time to really talk to patients like we used to, and you damn sure don't get to talk to patients, generally speaking, after they've left the facility that you work in. Every now and then, especially like in the hospital, if you have somebody that was, had a really bad accident and it was looking like they weren't going to make it and they pulled through and then a year later they make a full recovery, like those are the type of patients that come back and visit. But generally speaking, nobody comes back and visits. Nobody says, they don't say thank you. Not that people are expecting some, roses and a card, but just the simplest thank you sometimes it fucking goes so
a long way.
Man, I can't even.
And to tell you how wonderful it is to hear your story, King. It's also saddening because we don't have that so much.
Somebody needs to turn down the live stream though, because I can hear it in the background.
I turned mine down.
All right. Yeah, I can hear my echo.
Uh-oh.
Oddly, I don't like listening to my own voice. That's weird, I know.
Aww.
I sound weird. Like, I rarely listen to the show after the fact. That's a whole different... Yeah, we'll talk about that later. And I do want to talk about doctors.
Oh, I got you.
We, especially as nurses, and let me get this. Let me make sure I put this correctly. The nursing assistants are your first line of defense as a patient.
Yes, indeed.
So
now that depends on where you are, though, because if you're in a big hospital, there are quite a few chains. Because got the doctor,
even then, the nursing assistants. If you are a patient in the hospital, and I worked there for a decade. If you are a patient in the hospital, that nursing assistant is going to see you more than I will as a nurse. They are.
Yeah.
They're going to do the smaller things, not the less important things, but the smaller things that warrants them being in contact with you more.
Right.
Treat them great. Treat them wonderful. Now, I'm not saying accept treatment that is substandard either, but make sure you tell them thank you. Because they don't get paid much of anything.
Half as much as they deserve.
And this is the person that is pouring out your pee. This is the person that is cutting up your food if necessary. This is the person, if you have a brief, an adult brief, they are changing that.
Mm-hmm.
Treat them with some dignity and the respect that they deserve.
Yep. I do that every time I see my aunt. If there's someone comes in checking on her, I always thank them.
Yeah.
They don't have to treat her that good because she, like I said, she's immobile. She can't feed herself. She has to be moved around. So she's pretty much helpless without those assistants.
And see, the thing is, you've got a perspective that most of us as patients won't have, and because you have had to deal with the medical profession on a consistent basis by having your son. So you appreciate it more because you've been there for a longer stretch of time. So I want to thank you for recognizing that. And another thing, as a patient, whatever you got, whatever happened to you is not our fault.
Right. Say that.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. Yeah, a lot of people, and it's tough. A 40-year-old doctor walks in the room. Everybody, well, I won't say everybody, but depending on the unit that you're on, if you got cancer and you're 40, your nurse knows. We know what the doctor's about to go in there and tell you. So we can understand you being, just not yourself. I get that. But sometimes, it talk to us. I'll take the write-up.
Yeah.
If I need to spend the extra 30 minutes with you, I'll take the fucking write-up and make sure
that I gave you a little piece of me and that I allowed you to get some shit off your chest. Because a lot of times these doctors, first off, the staff, the odds are, unless you got some money, the staff is going to make a resident come in and give you the bad news.
Very much so. I've seen that.
A resident with no experience in giving bad news comes in your room and tells you the most fucked up shit of your life.
I've seen that.
You know, and when you know it's one of us, take the damn right up. Now, if you done got written up a million times and you can't afford to, get one of your coworkers. Say, hey, you know what? I'll cover what you need to do. I need you to go in Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so room and just give them an ear. We got to do a better job of taking care of ourselves. I could go over the statistics and all of that other shit, you know, as far as black folks and how we are mistreated by the healthcare industry as a whole, how these drugs that they are coming up with are never, except for maybe sickle cell medication. Other than that, none of this shit is made for us. It's made for white men.
Not even the sickle cell, honestly.
Well, sickle cell will never get the research money that it deserves because it doesn't affect them.
Of course not. And then they send you to pain management. And then they complain that you become a drug addict because the pain is so excruciating that you're asking for scheduled drugs every couple of days. Oh, well, so-and-so was just here the other day. I'm not giving up any more drugs. That's ridiculous.
I do not know why I'm getting this echo. Hold on one second, Queen. All right, let me see. Does that work? Nope, that did not work. Is it me? I'm trying to. It bothers me. I can hear it just a little bit. Oh, you know what? I don't know what it is. It's just Joe's phone. That's cool, though. We'll live with it. You know,
that's just crazy. Insane.
And like I say, like we didn't, you know, I didn't want to do this show necessarily to hit you over the head with a million statistics or, you know, shit like that. What I wanted to do is give people an honest platform where they can come on and they can talk about what's going on, where they can get some things off their chest, you know. So like I say, we'll be doing this every Sunday if I can keep it up, and hopefully we can do some good for some folks. You know, and one of these Sundays, I really want to focus on unionizing nurses. I really do. Like, that is a big thing for me, and I'll tell you why. About 20 years ago, myself and a couple of sisters, we worked at a nursing home, and we were the impetus. Is that the right word? I don't know. We started a union there.
Okay.
My mother, who is also a nurse, and who was the reason I went into nursing, shout out, Mom. She ended up working at that place some years later. And she calls me up. She retired a few years ago. She calls me up, and she's like, you know what? That I won't mention their name, but they called me today, and apparently I got a pension. You know why she had that pension? Because we started that union.
Awesome. That is beautiful.
That's like one of the that's one of the things in my life that I'm most proud of.
And you should be.
I need to call my mom and tell her to give me some money, too. I'm just saying.
Oh, Lord. See, that's why we can't have nice things. Right there.
No, my mama deserves every cent that she can get because my mother is a great nurse.
I believe it.
I mean, and I've seen her in action. You know, when I first started working, we worked at the same place. And my mother has always been my barometer on what being a great nurse should be. You know, so I have to thank her. Well, not thank her anyway for just being a dope-ass mama, but I thank her for giving me a way to feed my family and make a difference. And I didn't think, you know, that wasn't something I grew up wanting to be. I want to be a nurse. No, I did not want to be a damn nurse. Come to find out, I wasn't so bad at it. And I care because I look at everybody the same,
nurses are
the same
the
way I
front
want
line.
somebody to look at me.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, bro?
I said nurses are the front line because you usually deal with them 10 times more than you see the doctor.
Yep.
And that goes for dentists too.
Hell, nowadays you rarely see the doctor. You'll see a nurse practitioner. You'll see a physician assistant. And I make sure when I go to the doctor's office and I see a nurse practitioner or a PA, I'm not being disrespectful by telling them I want to see the staff physician, because when my insurance company sends me the bill, it says I saw a staff physician. Your ass gonna show up. I'm not saying that the nurse practitioner, and shout out to the nurse practitioners and physician assistants, they from my experience, generally speaking, do a phenomenal job. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying that if I'm going to be paying to see a physician, your ass gonna show up. It is what it is. We gotta stop acting like these doctors are God.
Oh, yeah.
What they say is not always right.
Straight out of Patch Adams, huh?
Hey, man, there have been times where I have literally grabbed the doctor's hand politely because he was fucking up.
Uh-oh.
There's ways you can go about doing it, and then you know what that doctor did? They thanked me because I just saved your ass, possibly your livelihood. I didn't even get a damn cup of coffee.
Damn.
You know, like, matter of fact, doctors, if you out there and if you listen to this show, start treating your nurses like they are people. Start treating your nursing assistants like they are people. Because I'm going to tell you, when you fuck up and you done treated everybody on that unit like shit, we're going to all walk away and watch you fuck up.
That's already happened in my job, so I know. Fuck this shit, I'm out. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah. You know, we have got to do a better job as a community of holding doctors accountable.
Right.
Yeah. You know, they have basically, doctors are the medical lobby from the employee aspect. You know, and I don't even know if nurses have a lobby. If they have, I've never heard about it, and I don't know what the hell y'all lobbying. Call me. I'll give you some pointers, some tips. You know, I'll tell you what we really need to be fighting for.
Right.
But we got to stop letting these doctors dictate every level of health care, and oftentimes they have absolutely no experience. All they are looking at is the bottom line, except when it comes to them.
Right. All day.
Yeah.
You know, and
you can't treat it like a business. It's people's health and lives at stake.
But see,
you know what? It's a delicate balance. You got to treat it like a business, and I'm not besmirching them for treating it like a business. However, you got to prioritize.
Right.
That's true.
You know, like you go through, like I don't know, 10 years ago they were saying, you know, some hospitals was charging $50 for 2 Tylenol. If your hospital is doing that, and you know, and when you get caught, you're a moron. You deserve what you get.
Right.
You know, there are a lot of things that a hospital can do, administrators can do, that can cut costs without cutting corners.
Exactly.
You know, now when you start running a hospital like Amazon or Walmart, we got a problem.
No. Right. Right. Which in some cases, in some hospitals, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah. You know,
that's exactly what they do.
You know what? We don't do anything.
No.
You know, we see our own people getting played, and oftentimes we don't say a word. We got to do better, people. You know, we definitely got to do better.
A little history lesson for y'all and for people that are listening. We did have, where I'm at in Cleveland, we did have a hospital that was all black, because that's where I was born at. And it was called Forest Hills Hospital. It was around for about, according to the history books, about 30 years.
because at the time before Cleveland Clinic made its big thing, we had to have a hospital because at that time there was a lot of segregation and black people were not getting the proper health care that they needed. So they solved this problem by having Forest Hills Hospital. It was all doctors, all nurses that were black. Your candy stripers at the time were black. Well, the problem was the revenue wasn't coming in to the rival hospital. So one day, 2 years after I was born in 1978, the hospital burned down to the ground.
Wow.
And after that, they did the same thing they did with Black Wall Street. They worded the insurance policy differently so they wouldn't be able to accrue money and rebuild the hospital. So what stands there today is what is now the Cleveland School of the Arts.
I'm so not surprised at that shit. It's just like when they moved, what was the hospital over there in East Cleveland?
Huron Road Hospital.
Yeah, when they shut down Huron Road Hospital. And they shut down the hospital in the hood to rebuild it out in the burbs.
Right. Because what they did was they tore that down and built another branch out in Avon. And they shut down Lakewood Hospital on the west side, kept the ER open, just for them to build a medical campus across the street. Really? Why not just, re-up the hospital and not have it just standing there, and there's nobody in the hospital. So all the employees that worked at the main hospital was split out, went out, transferred, quit. And when they got through building the campus, people slowly started going towards the campus. And I'm like, what was the point in having that there when they could have just re-up the hospital? And the community went up against City Hall for like 2.5 years before the final decision was made. I was at those meetings. And people were like, well, it's convenient, it's within the city, it's a small municipality, everybody knows each other, why can't we just keep it? Well, the hospital's comeback was, it's not making enough money, we're not filling up enough beds, we're going to build a new branch out at Avon. But then if you go to the emergency room and there's no doctors that are like, for example, peds, guess what they send you? They send you to the hospital way out Fairview Park. I was like, so what was the point in having everybody skirt out everywhere when we had a hospital right here? Same with Huron Road Hospital. Again, why did you shut that down to build a medical clinic down the street? That made no sense to me. That was absolutely asinine.
And actually, Huron was the best. Well, I won't say the best, but it was one of 2 trauma ERs in the area.
Absolutely, because we have one west and one east. And
so they put an ER in Twinsburg, which I know that the little Johnny sprained his ankle, but little Johnny don't need no fucking ER in Twinsburg when you got people that's literally losing their lives because now they got to travel a half an hour to get to a trauma 1.
Exactly. Or a person is off in the suburb or in a very far southeast suburb, and they're life flighting them over here on the west side for them to pass when they get out the chopper. Really? Seriously?
Yeah.
And that's where administration comes in
That is us as a community, though, because us in healthcare are understanding and we're doing the best that we can, but when you got like 10 people fighting, it's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no way the community of East Cleveland should have ever went for that goofy shit, and they did.
Well, the problem is the very municipality itself is corrupt. So it's like, true. Okay, well, even if the community were to stick together, I mean, they're borrowing EMS people from Cleveland because they don't have an arsenal in East Cleveland. Their police department is a freaking joke. So it's like, okay, well, how do you expect these people to, act as a community when the people that are supposed to be representing the community are trying to find a way to line their pockets in the most criminal of ways? It is ridiculous. It is dumb. And then to have the argument of we're going to annex East Cleveland and make it a part of Cleveland, because there's really no money to be made. So the strategy here is we're going to create everything from the health line to cut all through East Cleveland to selling the properties for pennies on the dollar, get people to buy them, and then turn it around and who do you know you know this, Joseph, as well as I do, how is it that mansions are popping up right in the center of the freaking inner city? How? So you're on. Now you
that's a whole other topic, Queen, that we could go on for. Like, we you know what, we
I'm
definitely
sure,
gonna have to do a gentrification show. I'm glad you brought that up because that's one I got to remember and put that in the back burner because we definitely got to do a gentrification show. And I don't think I'm gonna go the whole 2 hours. I got a couple moves I got to make. I just wanted to make sure that we get this one off the right way. And I'll give it another 15 minutes. So you got 15 minutes. And shout out to Joe Coolmore, man. Like, definitely appreciate you calling up, bro. And salute to Ray, man. Tell Ray we said what's up, bro.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on the show, man. No, you ain't got to thank us. Thank you, you know. And thank you, man. Joe Cool, like, if I'm doing the show, Joe Cool is there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a few people that like, I think he's probably every show that we do, Joe Cool is there. So I definitely appreciate that, man. Definitely. And once again, if you see the show, please share the show. If you're listening to it now, do me a favor, tag a healthcare worker, you know. And I try to do better, letting y'all know in advance. It just really came across my heart, and it was something I need to do, and something that needs to be done on a more continuous basis. And if you happen to know the admins of Black Nurses Rock, tell them to hit me up because I would love to be able to post it in there and let some of our nurses, you know, call up and talk about whatever it is they want to talk about and get off their chest.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, we try. That's all we can do.
No, you don't try. You do.
And shout out to those people that's watching on YouTube that ain't saying shit in the chat room. What's wrong with y'all? Talk to me.
Because it's not us debating. It's not us going back and forth. And you had people yesterday, talk about Kaepernick all day. I got you. But when you're talking about something as sensitive as this, it's like, ew.
Kaepernick got great health care. I guarantee you that.
Of course.
And it would be dope. And not enough of our celebrities are aware of. Not enough of us are aware of the inequality in medicine. And I mean, it's bad. Like, you got some statistics where we 10 times more likely to die from shit. We're not gonna talk about the not the birth rates, but the treatment of our
mortality rate.
Birth. I can't even get that out right. You know, I'm not talking about, we're not going to talk about cancer and how they, or matter of fact, diabetes. Like, they'll cut a limb off of us in a heartbeat. They will go the distance for one of them to save their limb.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, so if you got to, and there are times where you got to tell a patient, that's one of us, hey, look, I never told you this. And I don't mean violating no HIPAA, and I don't mean undercutting your hospital or doing anything illegal, but sometimes you got to let them know, you know what, politely say, you might want to get a second opinion.
Exactly.
Simple as that. We have got to do a better job of protecting our own in a system that is not designed to care for us, let alone protect us.
Exactly. And we just got to understand where people are coming from also.
Facts. Again, if you out there and you are STNA, you are a nurse, you are a doctor, you are a respiratory therapist, what I say earlier, hell, even if you work in the kitchen at a facility, you appreciate it. You do a job that is so fucking thankless. Well, today you get a thank you. Next week, you'll get a thank you. The week after, you'll get a thank you. You know why? Because I've been in your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, somebody out there is going to be my nurse. One day, somebody out there or somebody that's listening with their child, that child may be my doctor, may be my nurse, may be my STNA. And I want to build up enough good karma so when I'm fucked up and in a bad way and I need to go to a hospital, a nursing home, an assisted living, or whatever the case, is that I'm just treated fairly. That's all that we ask.
Right.
But we got to demand that. I don't want to even say ask. We need to start demanding that.
That's right.
You know,
right.
And on that note, yeah, we about to. I got to play a little joint before we go out. But I definitely want to thank you. You're so dope, Queen.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, you're so
show,
dope,
man.
King.
You're so dope,
amazing.
man. That's so dope.
I mean, I have to say this. I have to give this shout out to you, Joe, because we have been rocking for a couple of years now. We've had ups, downs. We've had laughs. We have, shouted at people. There's been times where I have broke down in tears at certain subjects because they're so touchy to me. And I got to give you a shout out because you have established this platform where whether you know it or not, when I speak to people about, what you have put out there for us, and I have people listening, you got people out there that are really and truly listening and dialoguing about what you're talking about. So I have to give a shout out to you about that.
Oh man, I just cried one thug tear. Can't be too soft on the radio and shit. I'm saying. I truly appreciate that though, man. And shout out to the plug. I don't always, my communication could be better, because I know Rome is chilling with his baby girl, so I wasn't gonna fuck with him this weekend, but I'm gonna make sure he on next weekend. Definitely shout out to the family, man, liberationmindedmedia.net. That is Black Eye Stand Radio, Do the Knowledge Radio, The Rundown with Renee, as well as yours truly, My Skin is My Sin Radio. And shout out to my family, man, Thought Crimes, man. If you don't know, I've been rocking with Prince and Open Mind on the Thought Crimes Network on YouTube once a week. We've been doing the No Simp Zone, man. Definitely appreciate that, man. What's the brother, My Life in the Shy? Shout out to him, man. Dope-ass platform. If you get a chance, check him out. Also, shout out to Doggy Diamonds, man. I'm seeing you out there with the Soapbox Network. Beautiful thing. And it's congratulations to Thought Crimes for linking up with the Soapbox Network. That's pretty dope. And again, shout out to you, man. If you work in healthcare, you deserve it. You deserve greatness in your life, and you are appreciated. On that note, let me see what joint we're going to play, and we're going to be out. I know I'll be messing with, and I just had to do a little Brick the Foundation earlier today, the beginning of the show, man. I ain't played no Brick in a minute. Definitely go check out Brick the Foundation. Look him up. I think it's, www.itsmebrick.com. And we're going to go with some Connie Sun, of course. And you know what? I feel like listening to some Mother's Day. On that note, we out. Peace, fam.
All right.
See, I'm going. Yeah. I've been feeling so all alone lately. Strongest with alone made me. My mama was strong. She was alone when she raised me. Hot water, cornbread, burnt flour for the gravy. She could make a mountain out of mold to feed her baby. Crazy. You raised me and Pete by yourself. When we was acting up, she whooped us all by herself. Thanksgiving, birthdays, Christmas, did it by herself. How could I ever never love her to death? Ain't nothing left for me to do, mama. Always tried to please you, mama. Therefore I made this song for you, mama. She's such a true mama. She noticed that habit hurt me, and then she kicked that habit to the curb, cold turkey. I get chills when I spit this. We ain't had no house up on no hill, but wasn't no meals, miss. That's real spit. Excuse my language on that last line, but I don't never want to turn back the hands of time. I hear these rappers in the game use that lame line. If you remember all your pain, you have a changed mind. Ain't no rewind, we had it hard back in the day. Mama, I'm sorry for all the hairs I turned gray. Not only that, for all the stress that I caused, my run-in with the laws, no matter what I did, you always on my side, standing tall. It ain't no love like yours, pure dove like aura. Forgive me for your ulcer, for my thug life horrors you raised. 4 boys, God planned, lowest order. Physical abuse was the cause of you losing twin daughters. We got older than EMP, went to the pen, being hard-headed. She told us we ain't had no friends. She still came to visit, even shot through some ends in the phone so we can call home every now and then. Mama, you are my earth, my joy, my number one, and I'm supposed to shine on you, cause I'm your son. I'm done with putting you through the pain. You You can put up your umbrella, we made it through the rain. Just keep your faith in the Lord and I'ma do the same. And pray I never have to go back to the dope game. I'ma maintain and try to make it with this rap thing. And I'm moving forward, I ain't never going back, man. Some say the rap game is just like the trap game. So if you hear me in the track, I'm in that trap, man. I'm that thing, baby, I'm Connie's son. Yeah.